She woke to a freezing cold that burned her skin more sharply than any bruise. At first, she thought she was dead. Everything inside felt too empty, too quiet. Then the pain flooded in, as though the whole world had struck her at once. The ground beneath her was rocky, damp, and cold. She opened her eyes, darkness. Somewhere above, branches cracked in the wind, and the faint smell of wet grass mixed with the metallic taste of blood in her mouth. Then she remembered him. His face. Handsome, arrogant, empty. His friends. Drunk laughter, shouts, music, and their hands grabbing her like she was an object, not a living person. She remembered how she tried to break free, how she screamed, begged, how he watched from above with calm, distant eyes, as if it were entertainment. "Relax, pretty girl, we just want to have some fun," he had said. In that moment, she ceased to be human to them. Then came the flash of headlights, the roar of an engine, the cold metal of the car. The road, the cliff. And his eyes, predatory, flat, were the last thing she saw before the car was pushed off the edge. Her scream tore away as she fell, air ripping past her body. Then the impact. Then darkness. She survived. And that became the beginning of everything. At first, she couldn't move at all, her body a map of agony. But beneath the pain, beneath the humiliation and terror, something new pulsed, anger, almost steel. She lay at the bottom of the ravine for hours, or days. Time didn't exist. When she finally pushed herself to her feet, her first feeling wasn't weakness, it was hatred. Her name was Alina. And as she climbed the muddy slope, bloody and trembling, she knew one thing. She would live. And she would avenge herself. It took nearly a day to reach the nearest settlement. She hid from roads and people, terrified of every sound. Anyone would have helped her, seeing her state, but she didn't want help. She wanted to disappear. She wanted to be reborn. A quiet elderly woman in a remote village rented her a small room, no questions asked. There, Alina finally looked at herself in the mirror. Bruises, cuts, hollow eyes she barely recognized. The smiling girl she once was, gone. The one who studied, dreamed, believed the world was kinder than it was, dead. Now the world was the enemy. And she would learn to live by its rules, only harsher. Weeks passed. She barely left the room. Slept, cried, slept again. Slowly, her body healed. And her fingers began searching online for everything she needed. Self-defense, criminology, psychology of abusers, investigation techniques. She watched videos for hours, repeating movements until her arms shook with exhaustion. She bought dumbbells, a pepper spray, a training knife. Started running through the forest. Falling. Getting up. Falling again. Getting up again. Her body changed. Her gaze grew colder. She learned to hide emotions. To read people. To fight. To fear, and to conquer fear. But revenge is not a punch. Revenge is an art. She gathered information about him. His name was Nikita, rich, connected, untouchable. His friends, spoiled, arrogant, certain of their immunity. She memorized his home address, favorite clubs, routines, weaknesses. She followed him from the shadows. He didn't know she was alive. He thought he buried her below that cliff. But she was near. Invisible eyes watched him. One night she saw him laughing, carefree, as though nothing had ever happened. With another girl in his arms. Throwing money at his friends. Living as if her life had never existed. Something clicked in her. She realized revenge wasn't just punishment, it was restoring the justice stolen from her. She started small. She staged a fight where Nikita accidentally got his nose broken. Then she transferred a large sum of money from one of his friends' accounts to his, sparking conflict among them. Then she sent anonymous tips to his family hinting at drugs and illegal activities. His life began to crumble. His friends distanced themselves. His parents grew suspicious. His reputation collapsed. But this was only the beginning. One evening, as Nikita walked through a dim underground parking lot, the light suddenly went out. He froze, reaching for his phone, then heard footsteps. Slow. steady, cold. Fear, real, primal, wrapped around him. He didn't understand. He didn't know the past had come for him. A silhouette appeared in front of him. At first, he didn't recognize her. Too much time had passed, too much had changed. But when she stepped closer and the lights flickered back on, he saw her eyes. And he understood. She was alive. He had thrown her off a cliff, and she was alive. "Hello, Nikita," she said quietly. Her voice was soft, but it struck him like thunder. "Did you miss me?" He backed away, trembling as if she were a ghost. This is impossible." "Oh, it's very possible." She stepped forward. He stepped back. She walked calmly, confidently. She was no longer the victim. "Did you really think you could do whatever you wanted?" She asked softly. "That money would protect you. That a woman is just a toy." He was shaking. For the first time in his life, he tasted fear. Alina stopped in front of him. "I could kill you, Nikita," she whispered. "I could do to you what you did to me. But death is too easy." He whimpered. "You're going to live. And you will live the way I did, afraid. Every day. Every night. You'll wait for me. You'll remember. You'll fear every shadow." She leaned to his ear. "This is your punishment." Nikita stood frozen, pressed against the cold concrete pillar as if it could swallow him and hide him from her. Alina straightened, watching him with a calm that chilled him more than any blade could. Then she turned and walked away. No threats. No scream. No strike. Just silence. For Nikita, that silence became torture. From that night on, he lived inside a storm of paranoia. Every shadow seemed to move. Every step behind him made his heart spike. He stopped partying. Stopped sleeping. Began locking his door 5 times before bed. Cameras appeared in every corner of his apartment. His friends called him crazy, those who still picked up the phone at all. His life shrank to a single obsession. She is out there. But Alina did not come. Not for a week. Not for a month. She watched from afar, quietly dismantling his world piece by piece. His father's company suddenly faced an anonymous investigation, documents leaked, accounts flagged, partners reluctant to cooperate. Someone sent recordings of Nikita's past escapades to journalists, nothing criminal, but enough to soil the family's polished reputation. The new girlfriend left him. Then another friend. Then all of them. He was alone. And it was only then, when the walls around him truly cracked, that Alina made her next move. A cold autumn rain drummed against the roof of a small gas station on the highway. Nikita hurried inside after a long drive meant to clear his mind, though nothing could clear it now. His hands trembled as he fumbled with a cup of coffee. The door chimed behind him. He turned, and nearly dropped the cup. She was standing there. A hooded coat, long wet hair, rain slipping down her face like silver tears. She walked past him, her steps slow, deliberate. She didn't even look at him. And that, somehow, terrified him more than the night in the parking lot. He stumbled backward, knocking over a shelf. Items clattered to the floor. The cashier shouted. Nikita didn't hear a word, his breath was a raw rasp tearing from his throat. Alina walked to the door again, pushed it open, and without a single word, disappeared into the rain. Nikita dropped onto the floor, palms covering his face. She was haunting him. She didn't need to touch him. She didn't need to speak. She was inside his mind, deeper than any wound. And yet, somewhere beneath all the panic, an ugly feeling began to grow, a thread of anger twisting inside his chest. Enough, he whispered to himself. He couldn't keep running. For the first time since that night, he made a decision. He would find her first. Alina returned to the small cabin she rented at the edge of the forest, far from the city lights. She hung her wet coat by the door, lit a candle, and sat on the wooden floor with a long exhale. The flames flickered, dancing across the scars on her arms, scars she no longer hid from herself. She had seen him again. And she had seen something new in his eyes. Not just fear. Rage. pride reawakening. He might fight back. She had expected this. The moment a predator realizes he's prey, he becomes unpredictable. Dangerous. She could feel the tension in the air around her, a quiet warning. But she wasn't afraid. She was ready. Every step she had taken, every plan she had crafted, had led her to one final truth. Revenge isn't about destroying someone's life. It's about forcing them to see the truth of who they are. And now Nikita was finally beginning to see. She stood, walked to the table, and unfolded a small map of the city. Red marks dotted several locations, places he went, places he hid, places he thought she didn't know about. She knew them all. She traced a line with her finger, connecting the points like veins spreading across a heart. "It's almost over," she whispered. But fate, as always, had its own plans. A twig snapped outside. Then another. Alina froze. Her senses sharpened, breath slowing. Footsteps. Approaching the cabin. Someone was out there. Someone who did not belong. She reached for the knife tucked beneath the floorboard. The handle felt warm, familiar, almost alive. She moved silently to the door, pressed her back against the wooden frame, and waited. A shadow passed by the window. Another. Then, a loud knock. Alina's heart remained steady. Cold. Precise. She tightened her grip. The knock came again, harder. "Alina," a voice called through the rain. Her blood ran cold. It was not Nikita. It was someone she never expected to see here. Someone who was supposed to be gone from her life forever. Someone who knew what Nikita had done. Someone who might ruin everything. She backed away from the door as the voice called her name again, firmer. "Alina. Open the door. We need to talk." And just like that, her carefully built plan began to fracture. The rain intensified, drumming against the cabin like thousands of restless fingers. Alina moved backward, step by silent step, her knife steady in her hand, her breath thin and controlled. The voice outside called again. "Alina. I know you're there. Open the door." Thunder rolled across the sky, a violent ripple of sound that made the window tremble. She did not blink. Did not speak. Did not move. Then the voice lowered, softened, as if trying to slip through the cracks in the wood. "It's me. You know my name." And she did. That was the problem. Slowly, almost unwillingly, a memory surfaced, one she had buried so deeply she had hoped it would never crawl back. Victor. Tall, quiet, observant Victor. The only one among Nikita's old friends who had never joined in the taunts, who always lingered at the edge of their drunken revelry, watching instead of participating. The one who had once warned her, too late, but he had tried. The one who disappeared right after her death, leaving the city with rumors swirling like dust behind him. Why was he here now? Thunder cracked again. The rain swallowed the silence. Then the doorknob moved. Alina moved instinctively, flattening herself against the wall just as the wooden door creaked open. A figure stepped inside, drenched, cautious but determined. His dark jacket clung to his body, his hood dripping onto the old wooden floor. "Alina," he repeated, closing the door behind him, sealing them off from the storm. "I'm not here to hurt you." The candlelight flickered, stretching his shadow along the wall like a warning. She stepped from behind him, the blade at his throat before he had time to breathe. "Don't move." His breath hitched. Not in fear, he expected this. "Still the same," he whispered. "Sharp. Faster than anyone I know." "Say what you came to say," she hissed, the steel grazing his skin. "And pray I don't change my mind about letting you walk out of here." He lifted his hand slowly. "I came because Nikita is looking for you." "I know," she said coldly. "He's not alone." Silence pressed against them, thick as the humid forest air. "He hired people," Victor continued. "Not amateurs. Real ones. And he told them that you tried to kill him. That you're a psycho ex-girlfriend. He's building a story so he can claim self-defense if anything happens." Her jaw tensed. "And you expect me to care?" You should, Victor replied, turning his eyes to her. Because they're not coming to scare you. They're coming to erase you. Her grip tightened on the knife before she forced herself to lower it. Not because she trusted him, but because Victor was not stupid. He would not come here to die. She stepped back, watching him carefully. Why warn me? She asked. Guilt. He flinched, not visibly, not dramatically, but enough for her trained eyes to catch. Yes, he admitted. But not only that. The candle sputtered. A gust of wind pushed against the old cabin walls. Something outside groaned, maybe the forest bending under the storm, or something else entirely. I left the group because I knew what they were, Victor said quietly. But when your name showed up on the dark channels, when I saw a photo from a parking garage matching your description, he shook his head. I knew you were alive. And I knew you'd come for him. So? She asked, arms crossed. Planning to stop me? Planning to help you, he said. Her eyes narrowed to dangerous slits. And why would I believe that? He swallowed. Because Nikita thinks him dead too. That sentence hung in the air like smoke. What? She demanded. He tried to get rid of me last year. I confronted him about that night, about what he did to you. I told him I knew everything. He panicked. Victor's voice grew bitter. We fought near the river. I fell in. Everyone assumed I drowned. And he liked that version too much to question it. Alina studied him, not his words, but the truth behind them. His exhaustion. His desperation. The way his hand shook slightly when he pushed his wet hair back. He was running. From the same man she was hunting. You're lying, she said at last, but without conviction. He exhaled. You can stab me if you want, he said quietly. But if you let me talk, I'll tell you something else. A pause. Something that changes everything. She didn't lower the knife, but she didn't raise it either. Speak. Nikita didn't push you off that cliff because he panicked, Victor said. He didn't do it because he was drunk. Or angry. Or afraid of scandal. The candle flame shrank, then surged again. He did it because someone paid him to. The cabin seemed to tilt. The forest outside fell silent, as if listening. Alina's pulse slowed, not in fear, but in lethal focus. Who? She whispered, her voice a blade. Victor's eyes met hers. The person who wanted you gone long before Nikita ever touched you, he said. The one who knew your past. Who knew your weakness. Who knew exactly where to strike. He took a breath. The candlelight caught his face, carving deep shadows across his features. Alina, your death was ordered. Her heart did not drop. It froze. And it wasn't Nikita's idea, Victor whispered. It was someone much closer. Someone you trusted. The knife trembled in her fingers. Who? She demanded, stepping closer. Give me the name. But Victor didn't answer. Someone answered for him. Outside, a single gunshot cracked through the storm. The candle went out. The window shattered. Glass rained across the floor. And Victor collapsed at her feet, blood spreading like ink across the wooden planks. Someone had found them. Someone who didn't want Victor to talk. Someone who now knew exactly where Alina was. Someone who had tried to kill her once already. She dropped to the floor beside him, but the look in Victor's eyes told her everything. It's too late. Run. And in that final moment, with the storm screaming outside and her only ally bleeding out in her arms, Alina understood. Her real enemy was still out there. Watching. Waiting. Closer than she ever imagined. And this was no longer just revenge. This was what the storm hauled like a wounded beast. Wind tore through the shattered window, scattering shards of glass across the floor. Alina crouched over Victor's body, her hands slick with his blood, her breath sharp and burning in her lungs. Victor, stay with me, she whispered. But his eyes were already fading, dimming like dying embers. With the last thread of strength he had left, he grabbed her wrist. His voice was barely a breath. It was someone close. she demanded. Tell me the name. His fingers tightened painfully. His lips trembled. And then, just as the truth rose to the surface, his body went still. The storm swallowed the final word he tried to form. He died in her arms. Alina's mind went silent. Not from grief. From calculation. Someone powerful had silenced him. Someone who feared the truth reaching her ears. Someone who knew exactly where to find her. She rose, knife in hand, her eyes cold and focused. Through the broken window she saw only darkness, but she could feel the presence out there. Watching. Waiting. Making sure Victor never spoke another word. Her gaze scanned the forest, every shadow, every shift in the branches. But whoever pulled the trigger was long gone, vanished into the storm like a ghost. She forced herself to breathe. One breath. Another. Then she wiped Victor's blood from her hands, grabbed her packed bag from the corner, and slipped into the rain-soaked darkness. She had no time to mourn. Now she needed answers. 3 days later, in the city, she sat alone in a booth of a small CAF, wearing a hood and dark glasses. The cup of tea in front of her had long gone cold. Her eyes stayed fixed on the crowd outside, the blur of umbrellas, headlights, wet pavement reflecting neon lights. She had spent 72 hours rewinding every memory, every relationship, every conversation from her past. Everyone she had known. Everyone who could have had a reason to want her gone. But the truth she began to uncover terrified her. There was only one person with enough knowledge of her past, enough access to her life, and enough cruelty to orchestrate her death. One person she trusted more than anyone. The person who raised her. Her stepfather. The realization hit her like a blade between the ribs. He knew everything. Her mother's death. The inheritance Alina never knew existed. The land. The documents. The secrets her mother had hidden. Secrets her stepfather wanted. He had always been cold, distant, controlling, but after her mother died, he became something else. Nervous, watchful, unpredictable. Alina thought it was grief. Trauma. Loneliness. But now she understood. He wasn't grieving. He was calculating. He needed her gone. Because she was the only obstacle between him and everything her mother left behind. Later that night, Alina walked through the rich district where every house had a gate taller than a human. Alarm systems glowed like tiny red stars. Security cameras followed every movement. Cars worth more than houses lined the driveways. Her stepfather's mansion stood at the end of the street, cold, immaculate, heartless. A place that had never felt like home. Her fists clenched at her sides. If Victor was right, if the order truly came from here, then Nikita was just a weapon. A disposable tool. A spoiled rich boy manipulated by someone far more dangerous. She moved silently along the back fence, climbed it in one fluid motion, and pressed herself against the shadow of the house. Every window was lit. Voices echoed inside. She moved closer. Through the glass she saw him, her stepfather, sitting in his luxurious office, sipping whiskey as if nothing in the world could touch him. His phone rang. He picked it up. "Yes," he said calmly. "Is it done?" Alina's blood froze. A pause. A smirk curled on his lips. Good. It was time to deal with Victor anyway. Her breath stopped. He wasn't just involved. He orchestrated everything. And the girl? He asked. Another pause. He laughed softly. No, she won't crawl out twice. Make sure there are no loose ends this time. Alina felt something inside her fracture, not with pain, but with clarity. Sharp. Deadly. Final. This was no longer revenge. No longer trauma. No longer survival. This was justice. She stepped away from the window and melted into the shadows, her voice a whisper swallowed by the rain. You should have finished the job yourself. Because now, she was coming for him. And nothing in the world could save him. The night swallowed the abandoned steel plant at the edge of the city, the place where everything had begun and where everything, at last, had to end. Cold wind hissed through empty, twisted metal frames like the whispers of ghosts who had waited too long for justice. Irina stood at the threshold of the ruined hangar, bruised, blood-stained, one hand clutching her ribs, the other gripping the pistol she had taken from Roman's lieutenant. Her breath came out in sharp clouds. She was trembling, with exhaustion, with pain, but most of all with the knowledge that this was the final chapter. There would be no turning back. Inside, under a half-broken lamp that flickered like a dying star, stood Viktor Sokolov. The men who had signed her death. Not Roman. Not his friends. Not the thugs who had dragged her screaming to the cliff. No, the one who had orchestrated her murder was the man who hid in the shadows for years, pulling strings with a cold elegance only pure power could afford. Her father. The father who had abandoned her at 7. The father who had built an empire of violence. The father who decided her existence was too dangerous now that she had survived. He watched her with silent, calculating eyes. "You weren't supposed to live," Viktor said calmly, as if the revelation were a simple business fact. Irina stepped closer. Every bone protested, but she moved forward like a storm. "Neither were you," she whispered. He smiled, that small, almost affectionate smile she remembered from a single blurry childhood memory. "You were always too stubborn. Your mother feared this would happen someday." Irina froze. "My mother?" Viktor tilted his head. "You really thought she died in an accident?" The room spun around her. "She tried to expose me," he continued, his tone still eerily gentle. "I couldn't let her destroy everything I built. And I couldn't let you, once you learned the truth." A crack formed inside Irina's chest, not of fear, but of the purest, most powerful rage she had ever felt. The truth hadn't just broken her. It forged her. "Then tonight," she said, raising the gun, "the cycle ends." Viktor didn't flinch. "You won't pull the trigger. You still think like a child. You want justice, not blood." At that moment, heavy footsteps echoed behind her. Roman staggered inside the hangar, his wrist broken, face smashed, still covered in the mud of the chase she had dragged him through. He wasn't dead, she kept him alive for one reason. So he could face consequences. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Getting louder. Closer. Irina spoke without turning. "Roman, tell him." Roman's breath rattled. Terror twisted his face. "It's true," he gasped. "He told me to get rid of you. He said you found out too much about the shipments. About the offshore accounts. He said, enough." Viktor's voice cracked for the first time. Irina moved the gun toward her father again. "This time," she said, "I decide who lives." Her father slowly reached inside his coat. She fired. The shot echoed like thunder, rattling the metal skeleton of the plant. Viktor fell to his knees, shock widening his eyes, his hand frozen inches from the gun he was reaching for. His blood spread in a dark bloom across the concrete floor. He looked up at her one last time, not with hatred, but with a strange, twisted pride. "You became stronger than I thought," he whispered, and collapsed. The sirens grew deafening. Irina let the gun drop. Her legs buckled, and she slid down the nearest column until she was sitting on the cold ground, staring at the lifeless body of the man who had shaped her greatest nightmare. When the police stormed inside, weapons raised, they didn't find a victim or a villain. They found a survivor who refused to die. A month later, sitting on the cliff where everything had begun, Irina watched the sun bleed across the horizon. The wind tasted different now, clean, new, almost gentle. She didn't have to run anymore. She didn't have to hide. She had buried the past with her own hands. And though the scars would stay with her forever, she had become something no one had expected. A woman stronger than her trauma, stronger than her pain, stronger than anyone who tried to destroy her. The world, for the first time in years, felt open. Alive. Hers. Irina closed her eyes, breathed deeply, and whispered into the wind. "Never again." And walked forward, toward a future she finally owned.